Look at Gohan. He spends his entire day reacting to flickering notifications and shifting between 15 open browser tabs. By 7 p.m., he is physically and mentally drained, yet he hasn't actually moved the needle on any of his goals. He tells himself he just needs a better planner or more sleep, but despite every New Year's resolution and productivity hack he tries, he remains stuck in this cycle of high-stress stagnation. Miyamoto Musashi built his life on the idea that this kind of exhaustion is born from delusion. He believed that standard motivation fails because it's a temporary emotional response rather than a structural reality. That feeling of being busy often functions as a psychological mask. Gohan is drowning in movement, but it is the lack of concentrated effort that leaves him exhausted and behind. After winning his most famous duel, Musashi didn't celebrate. He retreated to a cave for 2 years specifically to analyze why he almost lost. This is the Earth Ring, the practice of ruthless self-assessment. To apply this, Gohan had to stop guessing. He spent 1 week tracking every single minute of his day, logging exactly where his attention went with 0 filters. The data was staggering. That red block represents 6 hours every single day spent scrolling through social media and checking emails in bed. When we drop his actual deep focus work onto that same timeline, it barely fills 2 hours. The rest of his packed schedule was simply white noise. The Earth Ring replaces excuses with calculations. By pinning down the exact location of his time leaks, Gohan can no longer hide his habits behind the vague claim of being too busy. Armed with the truth, Gohan swung to the opposite extreme. He designed a rigid 12-hour schedule of deep work and intense exercise. He lasted exactly 6 hours before he quit in frustration. Musashi's water ring teaches that rigidity is a weakness. Water adopts the shape of its container. It flows around a rock rather than trying to smash through it. Instead of a mandatory 2-hour gym session, Gohan committed to 10 push-ups. Instead of 8 hours of focus, he started with 25 minutes. He stopped trying to force a perfect life and started adapting to his current capacity. Each small victory provides a feedback loop of competence. When Gohan actually finishes those 10 push-ups, his brain begins to associate his own word with completed action, reinforcing the habit of following through. Sustainable discipline is a game of consistent, low-level pressure. By scaling down his efforts, Gohan builds the stamina to eventually handle much larger challenges. A month in, Gohan is seeing progress, but then he looks at a peer who is already a millionaire or a friend running a marathon. That familiar feeling of being behind returns, and he's tempted to give up. The fire ring treats anger and frustration as raw energy. Musashi, who lost his father at age 7, didn't try to suppress his rage. He used it to power 14 hours of daily training. Aiming your anger at yourself leads to self-destruction. The strategic move is to condense that frustration into a focused beam, cutting through the specific weaknesses that hold you back. Gohan began a nightly audit. He listed exactly what disgusted him about his day, like skipping a workout, and turned those specific frustrations into his primary objectives for the following morning. Irritation at your own stagnation is a potent fuel. When you stop using that energy to attack your character and start using it to attack your problems, your rate of improvement doubles. By month 3, Gohan is a different person. He's waking up early and hitting his targets. But success brings a new danger, the voice that says, "I've made it. I can afford to relax my standards now." He stops tracking his time and ignores his nightly planning. Within weeks, his old habits of distraction return, and his productivity begins to slide back toward 0. This is why the Wind Ring emphasizes humility. Even after 60 undefeated battles, Musashi still referred to himself as a student. He knew that the moment you stop measuring is the moment you start failing. Staying sharp requires seeking out those who are better than you. By studying masters who make your current discipline look like amateur hour, you expose the gaps in your system and maintain your hunger. The ultimate test for anyone who starts winning is refusing to believe they are an expert. True mastery is the choice to remain a beginner, regardless of how much progress you have already made. At 6 months, Gohan hits the final wall. He realizes that the battle never gets easier. he will have to choose discipline tomorrow, and the day after, and every day for the rest of his life. Modern culture frames discipline as a temporary bridge, a grind you endure until you reach a life of permanent ease. This is the lie that causes most people to quit when the novelty wears off. The void ring is the total acceptance of reality. It is the understanding that the war against laziness and mediocrity has no end date. It is a permanent condition of being a warrior. You don't reach a point where hard tasks become effortless. Instead, you become the type of person who executes those tasks automatically, accepting the friction as a natural part of your day. Stop waiting for the day discipline feels easy. Musashi suggests that the ongoing fight against your own weakness is the definition of the way. The struggle is what makes the warrior.